Just in time for the holiday season, we have a beautiful Cancer full moon on the 26th of December at 4 degrees of Cancer that will open up a period of time in the couple of weeks that follow of some seriously nourishing happiness and contentment, and even perhaps some sense of deep satisfaction and joy, because this moon is flowing to the planet Jupiter as well as Saturn, and even forming a very auspicious wedge in our sky. At the same time, this moon is also connected to the asteroid Chaos, while the sun is connected to the asteroid Ixion, bringing some dramatic and intense turning points in our collective stories of politics, of things that are happening in the world that may also have a happy ending or a silver lining. So I might call this a silver lining moon, but it definitely has some intensity as well. So we'll be talking about the mundane or world astrology in the very beginning of this video before we get to your sign. If you're listening for your sun, you're probably listening for your career and purpose. If you're listening for your moon sign, you'd be about home and mother. By the way, son, father, father figures. But your rising sign is all about you, and I suggest you listen for that as well, if not first and foremost. Now, if you don't know your rising sign, check out my tutorial, How to Cast Your Chart in Whole Sign Houses, which includes how to create your chart and find your rising sign. You will need a time of birth. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Lori Lothian. I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac Whole Sign Houses. I love the fixed stars and minor asteroids. In fact, we have a couple of amazing stars involved in this moon as well. It's the star Mirzam, Fomalhaut, as well as Polis. So we'll talk about those stars as well as those asteroids. And if you're new to my channel, don't think just try me out. Just give me a try. There's a notification bell there. When I put one of my 26 videos out per month, and you'll be able to connect with me on my live premieres. And you can also just try me out. So subscribe, see what you think. If not, you can, leave. I talk fast. I'm also really into looking at astrology as a tool to help you navigate your life, to move with the flow of the sky, not against it, so that you can move into a state of more ease and grace as you go through the story of you. All right, let's get rolling and talk about this sky. Oh, I almost forgot. I have a special right now in the month of December. You might want to grab my ends on January 1st, 2024 All Signs videos. These are never public, only private. It's part of my yearly fundraising. They're 75 to 90 minutes each. In the description box below, you can get them for only $49, $59. They were $49 for the pre-sale, and until January, they're at $59. So before we get to the all signs portion, which I do love doing, I like to talk about the world at large and also some of the broader themes involved in this particular sky. Number one, it is a full moon, and all full moons represent a time of something coming to fullness or into fruition from something that began earlier. When did the earlier start? When we had a Cancer new moon 6 months before. So I want you to know that this is a longer story that fulfills itself over time. So in your own sky, I want you to all go back and think about what you might have been doing last July, or July of 2023. There was a new moon in Cancer around the 17th of July, and that can indicate that maybe in the 2 weeks to month that followed July 17th, you planted some new seeds. You put something into motion. Something was becoming fruitful, planting a seed for something that's fruitful or completing or coming into blossom at this time of December the 26th. And when we go through the all signs, I'll remind you of that. Number two, there's something called the Sabian symbols. And these symbols are 360 degrees of the zodiac, 360-degree channeled symbols, one for each degree, by Elsie Wheeler in the 1930s. And they're kind of evocative. They really work. I have my moon on the crystal ball gazer Sabian symbol. I spent years doing psychic readings for people, and astrology is somewhat the same thing. So I want you to consider that this Sabian symbol is very intense. Because the actual lunation is at 4 degrees of Cancer, we always round up by 1 degree. And the Sabian symbol is at a railroad crossing, an automobile wrecked by a train. Oh my God. So it's a train wreck, right? An automobile at a crossing wrecked by a train. Now, to me, there's an invitation to think about some of the positive sides as well. But, a train is on a track and it cannot move, right? It's plowing through and going in a direction. And it can't change. It can stop, but it can't change direction. Whereas a car is multi-directional. And so there is a crossing of agency and directionality. A car can move where it wants. A driver can move where it wants. A train has nothing to do with motion other than direct motion, right? On a track. So maybe forces of fate and destiny or things that are happening that you have no control over, like a train, is going to cross your path or our collective path. And there's a potential here of the train car wreck. Now, I know that sounds crazy. In your own sky, don't worry so much about it, but I'll try to weave it in. But for the world, I'm a little concerned. And one of the reasons I have a little trepidation here, so bear with me, is that the moon is on the asteroid Chaos. The asteroid Chaos from the asteroid belt, these asteroids travel like 4 to 5, 6 years at most around the zodiac, happens to line up almost exactly with this lunation. Across the way, the sun that the moon is reflecting is on the asteroid Ixion. Ixion is a gnarly story to do with rule-breaking transgressions and pretty intense, horrific atrocity energy. Ixion was the grandfather of the centaurs. He basically murdered his father-in-law. Then he wanted Zeus to pardon him. Zeus gave him a pardon, but then he went to the big Zeus party where he was getting his pardon, I guess, or his blessing or dispensation of goodness. And he tried to seduce the wife of Zeus. And then he was therefore punished by Zeus and put on some kind of spinning wheel for all eternity to be in suffering and pain. So yeah, that story is my software will say doing things your way, breaking the rules, a rage energy, breaking the moral authority. Let me just read that to you because honestly, it's an interesting time that we are living in right now. I will try my best not to say certain words that will get my YouTube algorithm kimboshed here, but I'm going to go into the general astrology of the world before we do all signs. Don't forget, if you're listening in my live premiere or even later, don't forget to hit my like button. It really helps the channel grow. So here's exactly how Roderick Kidman of My Astro Gold will describe this particular Ixion combination. Ixion, grandfather to most of the centaurs. By the way, Ixion is a centaur body. He's number 28978. He's the transgressor, so transgressing, rule breaking, going beyond social morality of the moment, rage against God, and the refusal to accept limitations on your goals. Now, we can all say there are times in our lives where we do want to not refuse our limitations on our goals, and we may break the rules and we may transgress social morality of our time. So that's true. That's what the sun is doing over there in the opposite sign of Capricorn, right? At 4 degrees of Capricorn. The moon reflects the light of the sun. So to some degree is also opening or reflecting that energy of Ixion. At the same time, the moon is co-joined with the asteroid Chaos. Now, chaos is self-evident, right? We all know what chaos is. It's just things that are chaotic. Chaos is 192521 in terms of the asteroid number. And it is the first primordial god that emerged at the dawn of creation. And this she god gave birth to the earth, Gaia, and Eros, desire, earth and desire. And she gave, and looking into the abyss, and so the asteroid is, according to the astrologer on my program, Roderick Kidman, about looking into the abyss, the darkness, the hole, or whatever, and the courage to do that, dealing with seemingly purposeless events or situations where things seem to happen at random and finding patterns in that randomness. Now, I also just think chaos is chaos, right? When we want to use asteroids, sometimes it's literally the meaning is what it sounds like. So where are we going to experience in the couple of weeks that follow this chaotic energy of the moon, conjunct chaos within 3 degrees of the asteroid Chaos? Well, Ixion, all of that transgression of social morality and, atrocity energy is playing out with that sun in Capricorn. So if we look at world politics just for a minute, we can make some assumptions here. For instance, the nation of Israel happens to be a Libra rising, and that makes the Capricorn sun the house of home and homeland, or property or real estate of a nation, right? And so you can make an argument that this moon on the 26th of December is going to reflect things that have to do with the nation of Israel and land, boundaries, borders, property, and all the things I told you about the planet Ixion. Okay, it's that simple, right? Does that not make sense? It makes sense to me. Secondly, we can also say in general, there may be things going on in the world where the moon wants to reflect the light of, in this case, atrocities, rule-breaking transgressions, but also chaos, because the moon is holding that chaos really tightly. And it happens to be that the Cancer part of the chart of the nation of Israel is Cancer. It is Cancer. It's the 10th house, where the rulers of Israel are, where the leaders are, where the government takes its formal expression, where the king would sit if there was a king. And in the chart of Israel, there's a planet called Venus that happens to be near 4 degrees of Cancer. Therefore, Venus is participating in the story of chaos and the reflection of social moral transgressions and all the stuff I told you about Ixion. You can understand, therefore, perhaps that there's something going on in the nation of Israel that was seeded back around July 17th that is now taking a full light in the top of the sky and where the public can see everything in terms of the leadership of the nation of Israel. Venus is a benefic planet, and something good might try to happen from that. But also the sign of Cancer represents the people and the home and the homeland. And there's a big light there, but there's chaos. So I don't know what to say that will be about. December the 26th, add 2 weeks. I'm going to thicken the plot, stir the plot a little bit more in a minute, but our all signs will not be about world events. Okay, so I want you to be knowing that we'll be talking about you. So if you could hang in there for a little bit, I'd just like to go a little deeper into what I'm explaining right now. The first thing I want to say is that the leader of the nation of Israel, his name starts with an N. The least I say these words, the more algorithmic lack of suppression I will get. This particular leader of the nation of Israel happens to have his moon, his moon, this full moon on Uranus, right? Uranus, unexpected thunderbolt, lightning, shock, and awe god, in his 8th house of secrets or things that are hidden or forbidden and hidden things. So somehow, therefore, this also will impact perhaps this leader of Israel, whose name starts with an N. At the same time, when this is occurring, this full moon on Uranus in Cancer in the 8th house of this particular leader, it is also going to square, which is a harsh and difficult aspect, the planet Mercury in this leader's chart. This Mercury sits in Libra. Libra represents the scales of justice, and it's in his 11th house, which is a very public place. So there may be some things going on in the story around December 26th, add 2 weeks regarding the conflict in the Middle East, that we may see some big news stories to do with secrets revealed, shock and awe, the leader of Israel, Libra, justice. And I can almost think it could even have to do with the ICC, or it could have some other meaning. I'm not sure. Because it's got 8th house involvement squaring Mercury, shocking news, shocking discovery, shocking for revelations about hidden and forbidden things regarding that particular leader with the letter N in his name. And the only other thing I want to say, I kind of almost heard the words when I was putting this together yesterday for you guys. I'm recording on December 12th for my Patreon community who gets it access, ad-free, early access. Check the promotion down below if you want to join. I have a little teaser to get you to try me out, 3 free courses on Patreon. But I heard the words impunity ends. Now, I'm telling you, this is intuition, right? This is not astrology. But I heard the words impunity ends. You take what you want with that, deal with it as you will. I am not taking sides in this conflict, although like 70% of Americans would like a ceasefire, for example, in the latest poll. What the government's doing is not in alignment of the will of the US people. That's interesting. But same in Canada, same kind of numbers. But I'm Canadian. But I am also quite aware that there's something called the rule of proportionality in war, and also what is, when you displace people and move, 80% of a population from their homes and destroy 50% of their homes, the rule of proportionality is no longer being used. And it's an old Roman rule for war that was now adopted by the international community after World War II. So there's no proportionality here. You make of what you will. I'm not excusing what may have happened, what happened in October. I'm telling you, if you have any visual eyeballs to see what's happening in the sort of ongoing war, because it's being put out there for you to watch, and you are not absolutely, stricken by the intense suffering of the citizens and the civilians of the occupied territory, then there's something about your view that I'm surprised by, Again, I'm not saying bad, evil, one side or the other, but I'm saying there's no proportionality among many other things. So there's a whole list of what constitutes, say, WARCRIME. And so a lot of those are check, check, check here at this point. Now, moving out of the world events, because I could talk a lot more about the chart of these nations and what this may imply. But at this point, I'm going to stick with what I said. Impunity ends, shocking stories, forbidden, shocking news stories coming out, because this is very much on the top of the sky of the nation of Israel, the public eye. There's a lot going on there as well. Okay, so let's get ahead of that story. And don't forget, at a railway crossing, an automobile wrecked by a train. So there's a train wreck vibe going on in the couple of weeks that follow. And I said, remember, everything was seeded back on July 17th. And I don't know what was going on in the news cycle for July 17th to do with the situation with both the nation of Israel and its leader. But I bet you could go back and find stories that you could say, oh, this connects to this, and connect those dots. If you have time to do that, please go ahead and do it. Well, never being one to leave the homework to my followers, I went and did the research myself, and I'm back. So bottom line, two big things happened July 17th for the nation of Israel. One, that they ratified that new law that limited the powers of their Supreme Court to oversee or turn over decisions by the government itself. And so that was a big deal. And there were all these protests that happened in Israel as a result of that, because it was an overreach and considered perhaps of an abuse of executive power to literally put into legislation a sort of a impotency for the Supreme Court to make decisions about government choices and actions. So that's a big deal. And then there was all these protests, and everyone wanted to get the leader of Israel out of office, and civilians and everybody were protesting in Israel. But the second thing I'm going to share with you is probably the more relevant, and that is this. There was actually a headline about this, many headlines about this during actually the day of the 17th on the particular new moon in Cancer. Cancer rules, remember, the government of Israel. And here it is for CBN News, and this is a breaking headline. Israel reclaiming, on the 17th of July, Israelis reclaiming biblical inheritance. CBN News Watch, July 17th, 2025. And basically, after a recent series of terrorist attacks, Israel announced plans to build thousands of new housing units in the area known as the West Bank. And despite international opposition, Israelis say it's the right thing to do because it's a region rich in biblical history, including a highway walked by Abraham, Jacob, and Joseph. Severe weather still striking. That's it. Okay, so now, it's basically more incursions into the West Bank, which, by the way, a lot of was they were told this by the United Nations ages ago. This is illegal. This is an occupied territory that is Palestinian. This land belongs to the Palestinian people, but it has been fractured, and it has been, they've dipped in with, I think, 800,000 settlers. And as you know, there's settler violence there as well, where the settlers are attacking. The United States just said settler who attacks any Israeli settler in the West Bank who attacks Palestinian people can't get a visa or passport to the United States. Well, believe me, they don't want it. They're there because they believe that that's where they're supposed to be. That is like the dumbest, recrimination. But anyway, there's a lot of death, and settlers are being killed with the IDF watching over and helping the settlers, do that thing. So the problem with that is that whatever happened on July 17th as a new moon, I gave you the two things: the Supreme Court law to overturn, to mitigate, make them more impotent, give them less power to oversee the executive branch of government, followed by number two, the whole news story about putting more a declaration to increase settler housing in the West Bank for biblical reasons. Okay, those stories, trust me, will be back December the 26th at 2 to 3 weeks, even a little bit before that, 3 days before the moon, 4 days. Expect those to come back with shock and awe. Uranus, square Mercury, and the leader of Israel's chart, N. Okay, let's go ahead and do the all signs. You got my mundane astrology done. I'm calling it impunity ends. That's the name of the moon. Something that was done with impunity is no longer impune. And so there's going to be maybe some divine justice, some divine retribution, and all of that. Scales of justice vibes going on here. Probably by then, maybe there is a sort of forensic analysis of the damage and the number of actual deaths in this particular strip of land that's occupied. And the world is in a devastating shock or something like that. Or then again, ICC gets involved. Okay, let's get going and talk about your sign. And I want to mention 3 stars that are involved. The moon is on Mirzam, the announcer star. So we can expect again the idea of something being announced, some kind of big announcements coming out for the world, or you can find there's an announcement of something new in your life in the Cancer zone, a big announcement by the universe. Number 2, Saturn, who's in a sextile to this trine to this particular moon from Pisces, is on Fomalhaut, the mouth of the fish. This is a star that has to do with an Archangel Gabriel, and it has to do with mystical knowledge and wisdom. And finally, the sun is on a star called Polis. Don't forget, with Ixion, the asteroid for atrocious transgressions of social morality. And that star is about hitting the mark and sowing what you reap. So it's trying to hit the mark in some kind of communication. So some kind of communication that hits the mark. We got some shocking news stories coming. And hitting the mark, it's a force for good. Polis is a force for good. And the star is also about sowing what you reap and reaping what you sow. So we got, again, that divine justice archetype on Ixion sun reflected by the moon on chaos. Okay, let's look at the sky together. I'll do a little annotation for you, and then we'll go through the all signs portion in a pretty quick way. I want you to see the 2 wedges. And here we have wedges. And wedges are positive in a way because what they do is they form a kind of release valve or a way of energetically releasing something that involves tension, basically. And you can see that the sun and moon are always in an opposition, which is a tense aspect pattern. And this time, the tension between chaos and Ixion sun, don't forget star, communication that hits the mark, a force for good, and sowing what you reap. We also have Polis here. Mirzam is sitting with the moon, the announcer star, usually for a cause or something good. If you have a message, stay on message, you have a cause, you wish to announce something, Mirzam. And basically these 2 energies here are flowing to Lord Jupiter at 5 degrees of Taurus. And this is an applying flow, not from the moon, but from the sun. The sun is moving toward that Jupiter, and Jupiter's retrograde and moving toward that sun. Now, the sun can just represent categoric leaders, world leaders. Jupiter is justice. Jupiter is going back toward the sun. So justice that was unmeted justice, or legal fairness, or whatever may be coming out of world leader somewhere in the world. But in our lives, it's not that. It's just a sense of divine harmony, bounty, wealth, beauty, and justice. And we can also see that the moon, therefore, is in a sextile to this. And the sextile energy between the moon and Jupiter can bring a lot of positivity to our lives. And this moon, therefore, has a super auspicious vibe. And in my book that I love, Renn Butler's The Archetypal Universe, which is now always noted under my videos because people have asked me to do that. Of course, I had the page all ready to go, the moon Jupiter energies I would like to share with you. Okay, moon Jupiter, I'm going to give you a vibe, and then we're going to do all signs, I promise. A rich and abundant emotional life, happiness, well-being, contentment, kindness, generosity, life-supporting, because it's moon nurturant, human values, Jupiter. See what I'm saying? It's like all good. I like that part about life-supporting human values for sure. Personal codes of ethics, feelings as truth, tolerance, acceptance, appreciation, and concern for others. So we have a quote: "The critical responsibility for the generation you're in is to help provide the shoulders, the direction, and the support for those generations who come behind." So that's Gloria Dean Randall Scott. Okay, who has a moon Jupiter in her chart. And then, of course, you can see the moon is also flowing to Saturn. And that's, what does moon Saturn do? It's actually Saturn is flowing toward the moon technically, but moon Saturn is emotional maturity, self-control of your emotions, right? Saturn is control, integrity, responsibility, conscientiousness, care, focus and sustained introspection, realism, practicality, commitment. And there's a quote for that, moon Saturn. by Frost. Good fences make good neighbors. Oh, that's interesting. Good fences make good neighbors. All right. So bottom line is that's the sky. This is what it looks like. I don't even need to annotate. It's just so simple. But the sun is flowing to Jupiter. The moon is flowing to Jupiter. The sun is sextile Saturn and the moon is trine Saturn. This makes for this double wedge energy. When we go through the all signs, I'm really going to focus on Jupiter for the simple reason the moon and the sun have really already been in touch with Saturn. They've moved past it by 2 degrees. It's kind of what is coming into the sky as we approach this story for the energy of what's going on. But Lord Saturn does rule where the sun is, and so we may have a minor bit of focus here. And the moon is, of course, in her dignity about what Saturn says about this lunation. But I'm really focusing on each sign for the wedge because the sun will move into Jupiter and Jupiter's moving into the sun. It means this wedge and the move is moving forward by a degree. So it's the wedge with Jupiter, moon, sun that is coming into being, whereas the Saturn wedge is coming out of being. So they're both positive, but this is the way we're going to do all signs. Jupiter, sun, moon delineation. I'll only talk about Saturn in the context of as the lunation lord, not the lunation, as the lord of the sun that the moon is reflecting. He may have something to say about it. Okay, but I'm going to make the sky much more simple for our eyeballs, just so people can track the sky without getting dizzy. And of course, where did it go? I just lost it. Like the whole screen disappeared for me. I know you guys can see it. I can't. Okay, I'm going to take out one planet or two here to make it more visually appealing. And what I'm going to take out is Saturn. So it keeps a simple wedge in your eyeballs. And reminding you that also we have that train wreck, a train and the car at the crossroads. So there's something about this that's very intense for the world, but in our own lives as well. Now, back to the big sky. And let's get rolling. This is on December 26th at 4:30 p.m. in Pacific Standard Time that it's happening, for example, but you can adjust for your own time zone. It's happening at 4 degrees and 58 minutes of the sign of Capricorn and the sign where the sun is and the sign of Cancer. And obviously, I think a lot of you know enough astrology by now that if you're a Cancer rising, it's a big deal. It's in the house of you. But if you are a Capricorn rising, sun or moon, Cancer rising, sun or moon, Aries rising, sun or moon, or Libra rising, sun and moon, and you have those placements anywhere between 0 and 10 degrees, I'll say, of those signs, this is going to impact you most directly. Your moon about mom and home life, your sun about career and purpose, that kind of vibe, soul as well. And then your ascendant about everything in your life. So look at those degrees, 0 to 10, if you are sun, moon, and rising in the angular houses or signs of cardinal signs of Aries and Libra, Cancer and Capricorn. This one is a big deal for you, right? This is you're going to really feel the intensity in the month that follows this lunation. And perhaps even in the 6 months that follows until we have another new moon in the sign of Cancer. And let's start off with Aries just because, why the hell not? We'll go back to Aries for a minute and then we'll be in the storyline together. Let's get rolling. Oh, I didn't pause the recording. I thought I did. I just needed a sip of water. Okay, I can hear the trolls now going, you just gurgled water in front of me. And I'm not even going to take it out. Yeah, guys, I just stopped the share and then I was going to pause the recording, but I forgot to pause the recording to take a sip of water. Oh my God. So when you do all these videos and I record many videos in a day, your voice gets really gnarly and then you need water. Oh my God. I'm just not going to take it out. Like deal, just deal. Okay, so bottom line, yeah, and to tell you when I'm recording all day, the size of my water jar, by the way, is ridiculous. And second of all, that is an Aries symbol, right? And it's not a demon. And around it are the other zodiac signs. Holy shit. All right. So if you're on my live premiere, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Welcome, Crystalline Alchemist, Herbal Empress, new baby on already there. Of course, LA Teller, Misbehaving, Serge LaBelle, Michael Thrash, Linda Calder, Ace of Spades, Feral Writer, haven't seen you for a while, Purple Table Tarot, Psychic Readings with Rose, and more. Well, thank you for being a part of my crew. And Stephen the Jupiterian, oh my goodness gracious, of course. And Jupiter 8, and all you guys have great channel names. Boiling Frogs, haven't seen you for a while. And yeah, thanks for being a part of my crew and being there in my premieres to support the channel by dialoguing with me, liking and subscribing, the whole gamut, and sharing my videos. All right, let's roll. We're going back to the all signs. I'm seriously, I just wait. I know you guys think I pay too much attention to the trolls. Sometimes I troll the trolls, sometimes I delete them. But I swear the biggest thing that gets people upset is I dare drink any beverage during a video, because I guess there's a slurpy sound that like makes you cringe. All right, let's get going. Let's get talking about Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. If you're an Aries, this is definitely something to pay attention to, as I mentioned at the beginning, because you're cardinal to this or angular to this, a cardinal sign angular to the lunation in your fourth house of home, property, real estate. Now, if you have something you think is stable in your home, like your home is stable, your rent is stable, something stable. I'm a little concerned about the train wreck and also the asteroid chaos. There may be some disruption regarding something to do with your property, land, home, and real estate. This is the moon, which is mother, in the house of the mother, in the sign of the mother, in her dignity. It's a dignified moon. Therefore, there could be some chaotic elements going on regarding a mother and mother figure in your life as a Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. At the very same time, you have this sun in the career space. This is a time of year where every Aries can really shine brightly in their career. It happens on the yearly. It's what we call Capricorn season. But for you, Aries is a career positivity time. And at the very same time, while you're shining brightly in your career, you have this social rule breaker, breaking the restraints, breaking the rules, going against the social mores, if that's something you wish to do. Pluto up here makes everything more intense. Then we have the beautiful wedge and why do we have the lot of fortune in there? Let me take it out. That's weird. All right, done. And basically, what we see is that flow to Jupiter. And Jupiter is saying, like, I want you to be bounteous and prosperous. I'm still retrograding, by the way, but I'll be back direct on the December 30th through to the third week of May. And we're going to prosper your money up. We're going to give you more income, more earnings, more success, better facial appearances, more bounty, in more goodness in the food you eat, and more positivity in your overall resources. And that's a story that really is going to take off after the 30th of December. But as Jupiter is retrograding and he's at 5 degrees, he's going back over some old ground that he's already been tilling the soil of, right? Starting with his September retrograde. And as he flows to this moon, and this moon is in the fourth house in her dignity, I'm going to say it ultimately, over the 2 weeks to 6 months that follow this moon and go back to the seed you planted July 17th, to do with property, home, land, real estate, and financial success. Now, I signed a new lease last July, right? So there's that planting a seed of a new property or continuing a new lease where I lived. I'm an Aries, Sun, and Moon. That's why I'm using me as an example. And Jupiter is going to fruitify or bountify some new developments to do with the theme of home, property, land, real estate. And comfort and enjoyment in the home, as you can also experience that breakthrough financially at the same time shining brightly in your career. I don't know if the chaos asteroids means some unexpected change. It may or may not, but still you have Jupiter ultimately giving you the goods. And if there is any disruption or chaos regarding home, property, land, real estate, and things you do in and from your home, that if there is anything kind of chaotic or disruptive, I do believe, because this is a 6-month forecast, really, right? December 26th adds 6 month. Jupiter is going direct on the 30th of December. And I have no doubt this all works out super sweet and super fine around those themes. Finally, I mean, sometimes the moon here in her home dignity is a female. It comes to visit you, a nurturant female, or you're going to engage in discovering over the 6 months that follow nurturant ways to be healing yourself from food styles and addictions or things that don't work. And I say that because Saturn is in the house of addictions flowing to this moon. Jupiter's in the house of things you put in your mouth. And it indicates for some Aries, if there's some substance you shouldn't be eating or drinking or smoking or something that you put in your mouth, this is going to turn that around and definitely open up a corridor of self-nurturance in the home and increase of wellness and bounty, and breaking Saturn in your 12th house free of any kind of limitations to do with self-undoing and self-sabotage. And Saturn is flowing, of course, to your career space and the moon, opening up a channel for greater financial revenue over the next 6 months as well through foreign lands, foreign shores, and foreign entities. I don't have Saturn here. I want to keep it simple, but he is here in Pisces. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. What we have in the sky here is, I got to keep my eye on the time. What we have here is we have an energy field of something very positive happening with a big, beautiful moon in her home kingdom, in your third house of short distance trips, travels, local neighborhood environment, siblings, skills-based learning and education, and writing and online websites and stuff like that. Now, this is full. What did you plant here? July 17th of 2023, that's coming to fruition. Now, also, you have Jupiter in your first house flowing to this, and yet retrograde. So by December 30th, when he goes direct, some of this lunation's goodness is going to really show up as you being more magnanimous, prosperous, bountiful, optimistic, and in your Jupiterian energy, large and generous and successful and lucky in matters to do with the third house, which can be siblings as well, especially younger. As well, there's always a possibility with the sun reflecting ninth house matters, and both 3 and 9 being educational axes, that positive things are developing around higher education, academics, universities and colleges. And you may be breaking some rules and transgressing and doing it your own darn way, going against the grain up there in that educational house. But it's going to turn out to be very beneficial because Jupiter, the god of education, is smiling upon the sun and on this moon. Some of you may be changing schools. Some of you may be moving to taking courses in a more local neighborhood. Some of you might be having some good professorial feedback that you're like amazing and something positive is trying to happen here. And with Lord Saturn, of course, in your 11th house, there's a train wreck. Remember, a railroad crossing, automobile wrecked by a train. You may be having some unexpected developments, like a broken trip, a trip that falls apart, something chaotic there, like plans for a trip and the 2 weeks that follow falling apart, that kind of simple thing. But also maybe some kind of train wreck with a sibling, cousin, or a neighbor. So be careful for that. But it's still got Jupiter's blessings. With Saturn in your 11th house of good spirit, sort of flowing to that sun and flowing to that moon. This also can include a very positive development with an elder sibling or with some friends who want to support you, like favors from friends, peeping our social groups of friends and enjoyment of groups of belonging as well, but in a very stable and enduring way. It's like sober-minded enjoyment of groups of friends or something like that unfolds in the 2 weeks that follows this moon. Gemini, what did you guys plant July 17th last year when there was a new moon in your earnings and money house? Go back to see what new things you started there. I'm a progressed Gemini sun. So Gemini sun, moon, and rising, listen, but Gemini sun is about career often. So this is like new seeds that were planted in your July 17th moon. Add a couple of weeks. What new things did you add to your earning structure? Did you get a new job? Did you ask for a raise? Did you start a new way of making money? Did you intend to make money in a new way because you did a new moon intention ceremony? Because now you can see that there's something good trying to happen vis-a-vis the money you earn and the resources you have. And of course, 8th house matters, the chunky money you share with your spouse, business partner, bank, loans, mortgages, and taxes. Now, we do have a bit of rule breaking with that sun. You could break the rules on how you file your taxes. Oh, you guess you could cheat. Or you could do other kinds of morally rule breaking things to do with shared resources. But on the other hand, you also have this moon sun flowing to Lord Jupiter, a benefic god of justice and goodness in your 12th house. Now, 12th house can be about revenue generated from foreign shores, foreign countries, and foreign lands. And therefore, that kind of money, rule-breaking sun in the 8th, could be, some kind of tax shelter, tax haven that may be slightly dicey, but still you're going to go for it anyway, or something to do with insurance payouts, stock market investments, and shared monies with your partner. And something good is showing up here. With the moon in your second house, you have comfort food stories going on. December, the 26th, add 2 weeks, if not 6 months, but nurturant food. You want to eat things, put things in your mouth that nurture your body, that heal your digestive tract. Jupiter in the 12th can give you teachers, guides, or information that you need to know, especially if it involves food styles from foreign countries. Suddenly you realize you've got to go on a kind of like Mediterranean diet, or you got to, learn something about a foreign food style. It might work for your body type. And Saturn says in your 10th house, let's stabilize this career to bring in a nurturant, bounteous financial resources and money over the next 6 months, but also leaning into maybe releasing yourself from sabotaging food styles, which is Jupiter trying to heal some sort of food or addiction style that doesn't work for you. You're moving towards wholeness and nurturance in your food style, in the way you earn money. Is it sustaining? Is it nourishing and nurturing? If it isn't, this is definitely changing. And I do think Saturn, who wants to give you long-lasting results in your career through to 2026, has a sober, realistic view of what you can actually achieve without actually burning out. Okay. And this moon is giving you a directional shift there. Again, seeds planted July the 17th do connect to this. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. Wow, I do like the sky for you. It's angular, of course, so it's intense, but you are having a reset in yourself. You are becoming nurturant, self-nurturing, self-loving. You are looking at how you can love and nurture and resource all the good feelings and beingness that you're capable of. There's a bit of chaos in this shift towards self-nurturance, but you do have support in the sky for that. And what self-nurturing decisions and choices did you plant back in July of 23 that are now coming to fullness and may unfold in the 6 months that follow the December 26th lunation? Jupiter supports that from the house of the elder sibling and from the house of somebody who's a friend or an ally. But also, Jupiter is quite fulfilling of in a house of his joy. Your wishes and dreams come true over the next 6 months, and also connected to that idea of greater financial flow and gain from your career. After all, you do have Rahu up at the top of the sky, expanding your career success over the next 2 years or year and a half now. And you have the sun. It's somebody across the way. It could be a client, an audience member, it could be your spouse, a business partner over there, maybe breaking some rules, transgressing, going against the grain or the social mores. And yet you're able to hold space for your own self-nurturance because Jupiter supports that and even tries to heal that maybe difficult client, business, or spousal relationship. I think Saturn in your ninth house is giving you a good cue to find your true north, to line up with the meaning of your life. But on a very simple note, it also can be an opportunity in the 6 months following this moon for a course of study that's going to really put you on purpose, or a journey to a foreign country that's going to really align with something deeply nourishing. That could even be a foreign land journey taken with a friend, ally, or elder sibling. And finally, ask yourself where your self-nurturance can be most dharmic, because dharma and the deeper purpose and meaning of your life is a Saturn question until 2026. And this moon is talking to Saturn going, let's find the nourishment that is dharmic, like my purpose and my career and my path is aligned. By the way, Saturn in the house of book publishing for Cancer risings, especially who write, this is very auspicious over the next 3 years to get 2 years to get a traditional publisher. And you may find it in the 6 months that follows this moon, a breakthrough in that area. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is a story of a full moon in your 12th house of self-undoing, self-sabotage, hospitals, hidden places, the underprivileged, but also revenue created from foreign shores. And if you're a Leo trying to make money internationally, like PayPal, Stripe allows anyone to do that these days, etc., then this is going to be a full light of financial resources coming to pass in the 6 months that follow this December 26th moon from seed you planted back in July. Also, The actual Jupiter support in the 10th house definitely speaks to career success and advancement, especially after Jupiter goes direct on December 30th. And you'll be having some serious career success and advancement, maybe even unexpected breakthroughs with Uranus over the 6 months that follow. And yet it also is flourishing and nourishing you in that 12th house revenue stream. But the 12th house can also be about just traveling to a foreign country, or maybe your business is connected to foreigners and or your money sources are, and this is going to improve over the course of 6 months. I think that the moon in the 6th house of work and health is very indicative of situations where you might have to break a few work rules in order to thrive. You may have to go against the social norm when it comes to the way you want to deal with your health. And also, pets belong here too. And some of you can experience some positive developments regarding pets and animals in your domestic environment, in your home during this time, especially in the 6 months that follows this lunation. Anything else with Lord Saturn in your 8th house, it's good to really look in the next 6 months ahead at how you can take advantage of money you share with your spouse, how you can resource inheritance monies and stock investments and 401ks and those sorts of banks and loans and mortgages in a more sustainable and nurturing and reliable way that also improves your not only work and career space, but your sense of physical health and well-being. You might take a bunch of money out of the bank and just spend it for like a bunch of health treatments or something. So out of your savings accounts and stuff. So think about it that way. Hopefully that's useful. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, here we go. We have this new moon, and it's showing up here in your 11th house of good spirit. And full moon, full moon, full moon. And it's big and bright, and it's moon in her home temple. So this positive energy, because this is where your wishes can be fulfilled, your dreams can become actualized, but it's also where your great financial gain from your career can show up as well as friends and allies. In this case, women who want to be friends and allies with you in the 6 months that follow this moon and really support you, and an elder sibling as well. And as this is going on, you can see that Jupiter is flowing from your 2nd house, giving this moon a stamp for the next 6 months of something that, don't forget, you started something in July that had to do with friends and groups of belonging, friends, greater career gains, actualizing your hopes, dreams, and wishes, having friends that benefit you in a positive way, finding nurturance and friendships and groups of belonging, all 11th house things. But then here we are in a fullness of it, a new iteration of it that can unfold over 6 more months. And Jupiter is baking in a kind of sweetness from your 9th house of academics, foreign shores and lands, travel to foreign countries, court and legal matters that all come together to benefit this new nurturance of your reality through that 11th house. And a lot of you are finding new dreams and visions and goals that are in alignment with your truer calling, Jupiter in the 9th house, your dharma, that nurture and nourish you in a deeper way. As this does flow, of course, to your Virgo rising or sun and moon ascendant or sun and moon. So it is opening up positive energies for you. I do want to mention, though, the sun is in the 5th house and it's with the rule breaker. That's your children. Are your children transgressing, breaking rules, going against the grain? The sun is sitting here with, Pluto. It's very intense energy. It can also be about your sexuality and your romantic life. And some of you may be really busting out here and breaking some of your own rules in that regard in the 6 months that follows this moon. With the Jupiter in the 9th house, there's such a flow to this sun as well that everything kind of comes back to Jupiter in the 9th, which is kind of like a divine justice as well. This is a house of courts, but this is divine courts, divine justice. If you're in an educational setting like a campus or college, of course, this is going to look really good on you over the next 6 months when you're going to experience some very positive dreams come true from the 11th with regards to your grades or getting into a new school. And if you're in a book publishing endeavor industry, that looks good on you as well over the next 6 months to get a really good publisher or contract or agreements there legally. Anything else? Well, Jupiter does rule your 6th, 7th house of significant others, and there can be some energy of bringing a significant other into this 11th house moon, and there's a possibility of some kind of resilient reconciliation if you have had challenges with your primary love relationship. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, you planted a seed in July of 2023, and now it's coming to fullness on December 26th of 2024, opening up a big moon in your 10th house of reputation and career. Well, that's a glow up. And so what seeds you planted in July will look really good on you in the 6 months that follow. Get ready for a new level of some kind of exposure, popularity, or success, but it's a little chaotic. Things are happening in a seemingly random way, but you're seeing those patterns. At the same time, Jupiter says from the 8th house that this new career expansion, glow up, positive thing is good for your long range money stories. Inheritance money, investment money, 401k money, tax rebates, insurance monies, mortgages, shared money with a spouse, but also passive income, royalty income, evergreen income, money makes money income, ad revenue income, like I make on YouTube, so I'm not like doing dollars for hours. It's just generating that kind of 8th house money, unearned directly income. So that's going to be glowing up for you over the next 6 months. With the sun in the 4th house, real estate, property, and land, selling and buying, mortgages and refinancing are all a big yes. But you might have to break the rules. You might have to go against the grain in some way. Jupiter also rules your house of rentals, and therefore you might be also renegotiating rental contracts. And if you're a landlord, finding new tenants, and that will also auspiciously move forward in the 6 months that follow this particular moon. And Lord Saturn in your 6th house is getting you to work really hard lately. You notice you're a hard worker, and you will be till 2026. But you're working hard, but prospering. You're working hard, and you're glowing up and shining brightly at the top of your sky. You're working hard, and you're stabilizing and fortifying homeland, property, and real estate matters. This is a positive move. Enjoy it in the 6 months that follow. And if you are somebody who's like wanting a new pet, Saturn says it's going to be a kind of an old pet, maybe getting a rescue pet, an elder pet, that kind of thing. And this is only bringing it up because it flows to that sun in the house of home and property, right? And so there could be a rescue pet or an older pet coming to you in the 6 months that follows this moon. Or if your pet has been ill, it can be a recovery for an elder or ill pet in the 6 months that follows this moon. If you're in the live premiere, hit my like button, please. Don't forget, and like and subscribe, share the video. And if I'm talking too fast for anybody listening, please just flow me down on YouTube. There is an easy way to go to the little gear icon and just slow down any YouTube channel speed or speed us up. Alrighty, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. There is a big full moon happening in your 9th house. It's beautiful energy. If you are somebody who wishes to, for instance, succeed in book publishing, take a foreign trip, win in a court matter, moon's in dignity, source a deeper satisfaction from a meaningful direction in your life, finding your true north. Now, here we have this moon at the top of the sky coming off a seed you may have planted around July the 17th. For some of you, it can also involve planting a seed to go back to school or find a higher educational path. And now in the 6 months that follow this moon, that could come to fulfillment for you. Jupiter in your 7th house is about legal contracts, but also marriages and business partnerships, audience, clients, and other. If you're a Scorpio sun, moon, or rising looking to get a book publishing contract, you got it. This will show up in the next 6 months, most likely. Jupiter also can say things that are going on with your marriage or marriage partner. It's asking to be expanded, move in together, get married, glow it up. Jupiter's asking for that anyway last year and through to the 3rd week of May. He also brings blessed endings in relationships that are not really meant for you. So, but Jupiter flows here to that moon in your 9th house of foreign travel. And it just could be as simple as in the 6 months that follow, you and your significant other are going to journey to a far off land. And it's going to be very good for the relationship. And you also may experience some kind of legal outcome on your behalf, like a judge rules on your behalf over the course of the 6 months that follow. With the sun in your 3rd house of, trips, travel, skills-based education, younger sibling with a little bit of rule breaking there. You could take a rule breaking trip, have a rule breaking experience with a younger sibling, or break some rules in your neighborhood. I have to laugh. This is like the homeowner association wants you to do X, and you're going to say, no, screw that. We're painting our house purple after all. So you can break the rules of the neighborhood, the rules of the local environment as well, and still be okay because Jupiter's protecting you from the 7th house, right? Finally, Jupiter here could be about your partner, not you, business or love, and they could be having the experience of some kind of glow up. If you are creative, artistic, this can also be an expansion of your success online as it applies to your audience and marketplace, where you have a blow up bit of luminousness, you're a big light at the top of the sky, and possibly you could get new podcast published, or somebody wants to publish you. You have a blog, a book publisher wants to publish it, you're a musician, and a record company wants to take you on. This kind of super glow up for Scorpios is playing out over the 6 months that follows. All right, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Jupiter's your guy, by the way, so it's going to be good for you to watch what he's doing in this moon. Oh, did I say anything about Saturn here for you guys? Yeah, I did. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, a big moon was, you planted a seed in your house of chunky money, shared resources with your spouse, taxes, inheritances, on and on. And you planted that, you could have bought a stock even. This is July of last year, 2023. We're still in it, but you know what I mean? July of 2023. And then over the 6 months that follows, December 26th, something that's now full light, full moon here coming to fruition. It is also connected to Jupiter in the 6th house of work, also in health, also of debt. So therefore, some of you Sagittarius are going to pay off a debt, a credit card, a bank loan, a mortgage, or you owe someone money, and you're going to be able to pay that debt off in the 6 months that follows this moon. This is also really good for your health, especially if you have self-sabotaging bad habits that are secret forbidden ones, like no one knows that you're a closet alcoholic or something. Anyway, you can definitely clear out those things in the next 6 months after this moon. Your workspace should improve and bring greater financial wellness. Maybe in some way you can experience a sign-on bonus, a severance package. You get to buy the stock of the company. Career and chunky money stories are work and chunky money stories are favored 6 months that follow. You could get what do you call it? Like when a company says you did a great job and they give you Christmas bonuses or that kind of thing. And also you have a sun in the 2nd house of earnings, trining Jupiter in this moon, baking in 6 months of success in your earnings relative to your career path. And if don't have a career path, then you can make another story like better health through foods you eat and substances you do not eat or ingest or drink or smoke over the 6 months that follow. You're going to break some rules. You might be breaking some dietary rules, or you might break some rules and transgress some social norms about how you make money, but you're definitely flowing in the money story and in the health as it pertains to foods that you eat. And Lord Saturn is saying from your 4th house, all of this benefits your home life, stabilizes your home life, creates maybe even a property, a purchase or sale opportunity. Moon in the 8th, banks and mortgages. Saturn in your 4th, baking into this moon, and you have the resources and money to sell, buy, or remortgage or refinance a home in the 6 months that follow this moon. But you might have planted a seed to try to get that to go your way back in July. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. Is this a story for you of a full moon in your 7th house of audience, marketplace, clients, and public, significant love partnerships and business partnerships? And you planted seeds here July of 2023 that are now coming to fullness and will unfold over 6 months from December 26. This can be very much about an opportunity if you are a Capricorn, sun, moon, or rising, that involves your partner, because this is not necessarily always all about you, right? It's a 7th house. But if you want to reach an audience or marketplace, the moon here can make you very popular with the public. If it's about a partner through some kind of chaotic energy, your significant marriage type partner or business partner is going to have some Jupiter 5th house action, some unexpected money luck, some positive developments with their creative projects or entrepreneurial businesses, and you are watching from the 1st house. This can also benefit you because Jupiter flows from also the house of children and romance to you. So an increase of romantic activity that with a nurturant partnership that is going to blossom in the 6 months that follows. Or you could say that one of your children is going to bounteously bless you as well in the 6 months that follows this moon. If you are at all an entrepreneur or creative person, this can also escalate your own endeavors in that area as Jupiter flows to the moon, making your output and your things you share with the audience, marketplace, clients, and customers popular and appealing. You are rule breaking. You are transgressing the norms of social mores because you have Ixion and Sun in the house of you with Pluto, who's been there. since 2008. This makes you extremely powerful. Even if you don't know it, life has trialed and tribulated you a little bit like Job, and you have authentically resourced a power within you that very few mortals have. And therefore, you're a very powerful being. This sun is acting on you. You are seeing the lens of your soul during the 6 months that follow, your soul, as it outpictures in how you reach your significant other, audience, market, and client space. But you might break a few rules along the way here. And I kind of want to say, with Lord Saturn sitting in your third house, there may be some opportunities here in your sky connected to potentially opportunities for travel, opportunities for stabilizing a neighborhood that you wish to live in, opportunities for stabilizing and gaining some public exposure and entrepreneurial or creative success in the online world, blogs, websites, social media land, etc. If you want to write something over the next 2 years, that's going to be Saturn's job to help you get it done. But this next 6 months would bake in a very muse-inspired 6 months for creative projects, including writing. Okay, let's keep on going. Wait. Finally, if you're single, of course, you could find yourself in a relationship with a new, very nurturant female in the 6 months that follow. That would be for anybody who wants to be in a nurturant relationship with a female over the next 6 months, can bring the new one into your life, because Jupiter is in the romance house. But if you already have a relationship, then this is going to fortify the joy, the enjoyment, the fun, the play, the pleasure, the romance, and the nurturance of that relationship for you in the 6 months that follow. All right, I'm one of you guys, Aquarius. I'm Aquarius rising. For Aquarius rising, sun and moon, let's go. We have this moon in our 6th house of health routines, health matters, work and work routines, pets, rental and rental situations, debts. And we will see this moon playing a role from something we tried to plant, or seeds of intention we set in motion, or choices we made in July of 2023 when the new moon was here. And this energy is a bit chaotic, maybe seemingly you can see the patterns within the apparent randomness of the asteroid chaos. But there, within that seed planting, and I told you earlier, I signed a new, extended my lease back then, right? We see Jupiter flowing from the 4th house of property, land, home, and real estate, with a bit of unexpected developments in the next 6 months from this moon. And so full moon in the house of tenancies and rentals, Jupiter giving you bounty and luck there. So you could extend a lease, get a new lease, share a lease, rent a property. Those are all very good. Your health can improve through things that you're doing bounteously and joyfully in and from your home. And you may also find that with Jupiter here, there can be some legacy wealth coming to you, or some inheritance money down the pipeline in the 6 months that follows this full moon. They can maybe even allow you to eliminate any debt, for example. It's not bad for buying and selling a home as well. Now, as you look at this sun in the 12th house of self-undoing, self-sabotage with the transgressing rule breaker, you may just break a few rules and quit a few addictions. Maybe you're going to do it your way, and it's going to be a rule-breaking version of it. Second of all, like AA says, never drink anything. Just you got cold turkey it. You may find another means. It's like a martini a day keeps the wine away. Now, the other thing over here is your 12th house is foreigners, foreign shores, foreign lands, far off places, and revenue as well that you can generate from interacting with those places and people and things, right? PayPal, Stripe allows that easily today. So you can also say you're being bountiful and prosperous from home, generating foreign land, shores, monies, and it's improving your health and work routines and the way you're doing it. If you want a pet, this is not a bad 6 months to get a pet, and it would look really good in this chart. Now, with Lord Saturn in the 2nd house of earnings for all of us, Aquarius is until 2026. He's stabilizing our earnings, but also giving us a kind of a realistic endeavor of how we make money. Is it sustainable? Is it lasting? Can this endure? Will it go the distance, right? It's the opposite of get rich quick. It's get rich quick, slow and steady as she goes. And Saturn here is our ally because we're Saturn ruled. So Saturn in the earnings house is literally looking at this moon in a very hospitable way and saying, I'm going to help help you earn money in a way that's sustainable, but creates a nurturant office space or a sense of nourishing sustainability in your work. Particularly, though, Saturn restricts, and he can restrict your food style, the wine, the vape, the cigarettes, or anything you ingest through your mouth. And Saturn flows to the moon in the house of sickness and therefore mitigates health challenges through digestive wisdom, especially because the moon in the house of Cancer is about digestion and what our stomach and stuff, and the Saturn is in the house of things we ingest. So we're going into a kind of real nurturant form of digestive wisdom for a lot of us Aquarians in the 6 months that follow this full moon. We might have tried to incite a new digestive pattern in July, and now we're going to come to fullness with it. And it can just be as simple as a food style, right? Going vegan, Mediterranean diet, gluten-free, legume-free, whatever you need for your body. I'm looking at some inflammation lately from my osteoarthritic knee, and I know it's connected to some certain foods I'm eating often, and I'm just going to go experiment and find a new food style. I'm kind of paleo, but I've been cheating a lot in the last few years. So you know your food style best. I was called food style, not diets, and you can figure this out over the next 6 months. Alrighty, then we have last and first and best and always best. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. Here we have a full moon sitting in your 5th house. You planted seeds here. Romance, money luck, enjoyment, pleasure, play, children, entrepreneurial endeavors, creative projects. You planted a seed here in July. Now it's coming to a full light that can last 6 months. We can say that this moon is opening up a big doorway for you. It's a little chaotic, but it's a doorway for more joy, a doorway for enjoyment in your life to come to full fruition. Now we do have Jupiter in your 3rd house. And sexuality and romance and all that. We have Jupiter in your 3rd house saying some of that joy and enjoyment can be fortified in the next 6 months through trips, travel, through communication, projects, writing, through things that might have to do with your online world and prosperity there, your website, your social media platforms. Sibling connections can bring more, a sibling can bring more prosperity and money luck to you as well. Jupiter here can also be about learning. So you may have a teacher or a teaching you want to study under, and that can open up creative or entrepreneurial or money opportunities that are very fortunate for you in the 6 months that follow. With Jupiter flowing to the sun, which is in your 11th house of good spirit, you can break some social rules that are group rules, like the way everybody does something in a club or group of friends. So you can break some rules there, or break some dramatic rules there. And it's also a connection to maybe the idea of breaking a rule connected to how you can earn money in your career. But there's a rule-breaking quality with Ixion and the sun flowing to Jupiter in the 3rd house. Now, Jupiter can definitely indicate opportunities for travel that are very prosperous for you, but also very satisfying, enjoyable, and nurturing in the next 6 months. Jupiter does rule your career house, and so that travel may be connected to work and career activities, as well as fortifying a better sense of well-being, as he also rules, of course, your 1st house. Saturn is in your 1st house, and he flows to this moon as well. Saturn says you're stable, serious, realistic, and your dreams and wishes can come true. The confusion you've had since 2011 with Neptune in your 1st house or in your Piscean zone of sun, moon, and rising is coming to a close anyway. And Saturn in a couple of years, and Saturn here is like, okay, well, now we're going to make those dreams real. We're going to get concretized, tangible, and make something real out of this stuff. This diffuse dissolving Neptune stuff. And we're going to get rid of the fog for sure. And so Saturn flows to Jupiter. And so Saturn wants Jupiter to do something like write that book, build that website, take those trips, find the bounteous neighborhood, get your ideas out there, start your social media channel, maybe. Start doing something there that's going to bring prosperity. But Saturn also would say to your moon in this condition, by flowing to that moon, can you have enduring nourishment and nurturance in your relationship with your children, your creativity, your muse, your romantic life? And Saturn's saying you can do that. You can set in motion some enduring satisfaction that can go over the course of the next 6 months into fullness for you. And Saturn does also say to the sun, hey, great gains from the career path would be nice. So some of you can start to increase in a steady but sure but slow way the way you earn money or create some career gains for your life. And if you are at all interested in, depends, but if you have an IC, especially in the third house, some of you may enjoy a relocation, but involving travel, like maybe to a far off place, especially foreign lands, given Saturn rules your 12th house. And that may be available to you in the 6 months that follows this moon. Thanks for listening, Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Thanks for listening, everyone. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for notification. Give me a shout out. Share my stuff with the world. This is my passion. I love astrology. I hope you're here to support that and help me grow. It was a bit of a burnout year for me. I put a lot of content out and I saw way too many clients, but I do see clients. There are wait lists below. I'll be seeing far fewer clients next year than I have in any other year. And, sometimes I think, you can't really do astrology until you see about 5,000 clients in 5 years. And so now that I've done that, I kind of like really just have to do more teaching, I hope, and more YouTube videos, but I'm still available. I can never stop seeing you guys because I learn by doing real work with the clients. And so please get on the wait list in my description box below, or join my Cosmic Moonshine newsletter and you'll be a priority on a priority wait list, or join my Patreon community, which is the top priority wait list, et cetera, et cetera. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful full moon, Christmas season, holiday season, if Christmas isn't your thing.